The Midnight Tree. It was a spooky tree, a midnight tree that made children nervous. There it was, waiting in the park, its knobbly and twisted branches seeming to sway in the wind, like arms crawling through the air, waiting for children. It was the children's day out in the park. Ben, Tessa, and Jeremy were on an adventure. They wanted to find the secret garden, a fascinating place where only children could go. Searching among the bushes, the children found an opening and crawled into the garden. They saw a tree standing alone. It was huge, with clusters of thick leaves. One of the branches was so heavy it almost touched the ground, like it was calling out to children to climb on. A cool wind blew and the children shivered. They sniffed the air and there was a hint of sweet vanilla. It was getting late. In the evening light, the children stood terrified as they saw a creature emerging from the tree. It jumped up and down on the branch, beating its chest excitedly and shrieking. Suddenly, a creature with black wings flew out from the tree. The children all screamed, "Ah!" They turned and ran for their lives. Scrambling through the bushes, they found the opening and crawled as fast as they could out of the garden. They could hear Mommy yelling for them. "Where did the three of you run off to?" Mommy asked. The children were too scared to answer her. "Mommy, we were looking for the secret garden." Ben decided to tell the truth. Mommy replied and smiled. "Tell me when you have found it. I would like to see it too." She didn't believe them. Ben looked at his brother and sister and said, "We will come back tomorrow to look for it again." Tessa and Jeremy didn't reply, but they both understood why they had to go back. They needed to solve the mystery of the shrieking creature. Safely tucked in bed that night, the children talked excitedly about what they saw. What was that shrieking creature? Was it a monster? Ben thought. It could be a monkey. It sure sounded and acted like one. What about the flying creature? Was it a vampire? The next day, Mommy brought them back to the park. She said to Ben, "Take care of your brother and sister." Ben replied, "I always do." The children looked for the opening in the bush. They found it and crawled back into the garden. They saw the tree and ran towards it. They were amazed to see it in bright daylight. The bark was dark brown with deep lines and swirls, like the face of an old woman. The tree was in full bloom, with lots of creamy white flowers. It didn't seem so scary now. Walking around the tree, Ben picked up a small, Y-shaped twig. He fastened a rubber band over the wide like a catapult. Tessa climbed into the low branch and sat on it. Suddenly, she saw something, a shape in the trunk. It looks like the face of a monkey. She thought to herself. "I think it was a monkey we saw last night," she told her brothers. Suddenly, a black flying creature flew out from the tree. Ben added quickly. He grabbed a stone from the ground and used his catapult to shoot at the creature. It fell to the ground. The creature spread its wings and struggled to straighten itself. The children now saw that it was a bat. They felt sorry for hitting it. The bat looked frightened, pleading with its large eyes. Tessa scolded Ben. "You shouldn't have hit it." Ben felt really bad. I was only trying to protect the two of you, he said softly. The bat had a dog-like and pointed face. It had wings larger than its body. Then it crawled a few steps before leaping into the air. It fluttered as it tried to fly, but after a few beats of its wings, it took off smoothly. "Whoa, we just saw a real flying bat," Ben said in amazement. It doesn't seem so scary now." Looking at the ground, Ben noticed little round red berries. There were tiny seeds strewn all over. It looked as if the bat had been eating the berries. "A fruit bat, so it's not a vampire," Ben said laughingly. Rainforest fact: the Tembusu. This story is inspired by the Tembusu tree, one of which stands on the grounds of the Singapore Botanic Gardens. A majestic tree, it is believed to be about 150 years old. A native of Singapore, the Tembusu can grow up to 40 meters tall. The tree blooms twice a year, and its white flowers have a strong fragrance, especially in late evenings, which help to draw pollinators. Its fruits are round, red berries with lots of small seeds. They are eaten by birds and bats, which help to disperse the seeds for pollination. The Tembusu is pollinated by the common fruit bat and cave nettle bat in the night. About bats. Bats are mammals. Sometimes they are more popularly known for their vampire connection, which appears in the names of some bats. An example is a large flying fox, the world's largest bat, a native of the Southeast Asia rainforest. Its wingspan is almost 1.5 meters wide. These bats roost in large colonies, sometimes in hundreds in trees. They are an endangered species and are rarely seen in Singapore today. They eat fruits and sip nectar from the flowers of fruit trees. What happens when bats visit flowers for nectar? When they feed on one flower, bats get covered in pollen, which they help to spread when they visit other flowers for more nectar. The flowers get cross-pollinated and grow fruits in their place. Durian and banana flowers are two examples that are pollinated by bats. When their fruits are formed and ripe, they are eaten by monkeys and squirrels, which also help to disperse the seeds. Are there real vampire bats? Vampire bats do exist and refer to certain species of bats in South America that feed on the blood of cattle, wild horses, or chicken. They are small bats, about the size of an adult's thumb. The vampire bat bites an animal, usually when it is sleeping, with its razor-sharp front teeth and laps up the blood from the wound. It does not suck the blood of its victims. It takes a vampire bat about 20 minutes to feed. When it has finished feeding, the cut closes. The amount of blood taken out is small, and the animal is usually not hurt. In Singapore, we have a bat called the lesser force vampire bat. It does not feed on blood, but eats insects instead. What you didn't know about the bats? Bats are the only mammals that can fly, swift and agile. They are able to twist and turn in mid-air as they fly. There are over 1,000 species of bats. Baby bats are born alive just like other mammals. Mother bats nurse their young with their own milk. Baby bats are covered with soft fur. Bats have long wings and slender fingers covered with skin. The world's smallest mammal is possibly the bumblebee bat, also known as the hawk-nosed bat. It is less than 3 cm long, the size of the tip of a man's thumb. It is a rare and endangered species. The bamboo bat, another tiny mammal is also the size of a man's thumb. It roots in the stem of the bamboo plant and is found in Southeast Asia. Different species of bats eat different types of fruits, like insects, for example, mosquitoes, fruits, nectar, or other mammals like small fish, birds, frogs, and rodents. The end.